Now, as you know, we are fighting very hard in whole China, of course, the whole world fighting against the coronavirus, pneumonia, and they call it NCP in China and also the world. So, but unfortunately, some people, sometimes I don't like to say some people from the West, but exactly they are from the West. At this moment, made a lot of noise against China's system, against Chinese the effort we have made. But sometimes I like to say, we are living in one group. We have no choice but to work together to build a community of a shared future for mankind. So when some people have some difficulties, at least we have to sympathize each other, to help each other, but not to fight each other. But the time, sometimes unfortunately we see some people, they will not stop their fighting. So this is why I like to take this opportunity to answer some questions, any questions or a concern of you. How about the epidemic in China, or how about the international relations? So I'm now open for the floor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ambassador. Okay, please raise your hand and identify yourself before raising the question. Okay, thank you. As I just said, some of you already registered some questions, but I will give them opportunity and also give you opportunities after all the questions. Jing from the Xinhua.
Hi, I'm Jing from Xinhua Business. My question is, now U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is on visit in Africa. This is his first trip to Africa since assuming the post. Some people think that Mr. Pompeo's visit attempts to target China's rapidly growing influence in Africa. He also attacked China's political system during his visit to Britain, Ukraine, and Central Asia countries, saying that the CPC was the main threat of this era. So, what's your comment on Pompeo's remarks?
Mr. Pompeo I'm not surprised to hear some remark like this from that gentleman, because you know who he is. And it seems to me that this is the first trip of Mr. Pompeo to visit Africa during the past 22 months, since he assumed the office or the post of U.S. Secretary of State. His late arrival, I think it's so late. He come to this country and shows that Americans, it seems to us, they did not pay enough attention to this continent. And this is, I like to share with you that every year, the Minister of Foreign Affairs from China always choose Africa as the destination of the first visit, overseas visit. And this has become the fine tradition of China's policy. So when I was at DZ, every year I have to take the advice from the foreign minister. Always put the first overseas visit to African continent. And this kind of fine tradition has lasted for 30 years. So Mr. Pompeo has been in the office as a state secretary, just come here. I think he's welcome. We welcome the visit of the American state, especially the Secretary of State, to the African. But we hope his visit will help promote the peace, stability, and prosperity of the African country, including instead of paying the lip service. And I also have taken note of Mr. Pompeo's remark, and also noticed that his comments were widely criticized by the international communities. I was not surprised to hear those words from Mr. Pompeo. There's no market for his argument, and no one buys it. As the former chief of CIA, as you know, what is the CIA doing? Who long engaged in the work in special fields, he still lived in the Cold War era, it seems to us. he did not come to the modern society. He did not change his outdated zero-sum mentality of Cold War defined by hatred, hostility, and ideological prejudice. It is a sincere hope that the respected U.S. Secretary of State could give up those outdated mindsets at an early day and learn to respect each other and coexist peacefully with other countries. At present, the normal corona pneumonia, we call it NCP, is spreading both in and outside China, threatening the life and health of the Chinese people and the people around the world. Under the strong leadership of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, we call CPC, with Communist Xi Jinping at its core, the Chinese people are fighting in want and making all effort against the NCP. China has taken the most comprehensive, rigorous, and thorough measures to contain the epidemic in China and stop it from spreading out of China. Not only that, we are trying our best to contain the virus in China and spreading out of China. We fight so hard there. So I think, of course, China has paid a huge price and made great sacrifice for that. I'm very happy to see China has achieved remarkable progress up to now, which fully demonstrates the extraordinary and outstanding leadership of the Communist Xi Jinping and the Communist Party of China, and of course, shows the superiority of the socialism with Chinese characteristics. It has not only protected the life and health of the Chinese people and the people around the world, but also safeguarded the global public health security, made new contributions to the cause of world human rights. This is the best way to protect the human rights, because the people are dying. And this is the best way to protect the human rights, the people from the world. And of course, we have set up the new standard in epidemic prevention and control. China's efforts are highly recognized and appreciated by the WHO and the UN and other international organizations and all the friendly countries, including South Africa. But unfortunately, to see that at this crucial juncture, the Chinese people fight against the epidemic. As the Secretary of State of the only global superpower, Mr. Pompeo was not giving his kind sympathy and support to the Chinese government and people on behalf of the American government and people, but rather blatantly attacking the Chinese Communist Party and China's political system. It's unfortunate to see. Only the Chinese people have the right to say, all the kind people of the world have their own judgment whether the CPC is good or not, whether the socialism with Chinese characteristics is good or not. Since Mr. Pompeo criticized China's system, I cannot help asking him whether the American system can do the same or better than what China's system has achieved. Firstly, since the outbreak, President Xi Jinping has been personally commanding the national battles against the epidemics. And Premier Li Keqiang was fighting in the field in Wuhan. The Communist Party member and all the cadres at all levels nationwide have been fighting in the front. President Xi Jinping and the CPC united and led the Chinese people to fight in one and have effectively curbed the spread of the epidemic and cut off its spread out of China. Can the U.S. make it? Secondly, China built 2 special hospitals with a capacity of 2,600 beds in about 10 days and completed 15 cabin hospitals, mobile cabin hospitals, with a total capacity of over 10,000 beds in such a short period of time in Wuhan and Hubei. Can the U.S. make it? Thirdly, all the 1.4 Chinese people follow the instruction of the party and government to quarantine themselves at home for more than 2 weeks so as to curb and cut off the spread of the epidemic in and out of China. Can the U.S. make it? Fourthly, China mobilized over 32,000 medical doctors, medical staff, including doctors and nurses, and huge medical supplies from various provinces, from other provinces and cities, and global-wise, to rush to support Wuhan and Hubei. Can the U.S. ask some city to the New York to support Washington? Fifthly, China has mobilized 19 provinces and cities to support and work together with the 16 cities in Hubei province except Wuhan, so as to defeat the epidemic in Hubei. Can the U.S. make it? And to mobilize other provinces to support another provinces. Sixthly, China has put in place the National Joint Prevention and Control System and Program timely and effectively, and ensure the instruction and requirements of President Xi Jinping and the CPC Central Committee be immediately communicated to each and every community and village, every party member and citizen for effective implementation. The central and local government immediately allocated about $10 billion emergency fund for the nationwide anti-epidemic efforts. Can the U.S. make it? Seventhly, the Communist Party of China has lifted more than 800 million people out of poverty in the past 40 years and is committed to lifting all the Chinese people with 1.4 billion, all of us, out of poverty by the end of 2020 this year, and contribute more than 60% of the world economic growth every year. Can the U.S. make it? Lastly, and eighthly, I'd like to say, China has been committed to following the path of peaceful development, living in harmony with all other countries, including America, fostering a new type of international relations, featuring mutual respect, fairness, and justice, and win-win cooperation for common development, and building a community of a shared future for mankind. China has never waged a war of foreign aggression. China has never occupied a single inch of foreign territory. China has never made a single foreigner homeless. Can the U.S. make it? The answer to this question are very clear. The U.S. cannot and will not make it. I challenge them. Because the CPC always put the people first. Not some people, but all the people first. And always put the health and life of each and every Chinese people first. Because the fundamental difference between the socialism and capitalism is so simple. The socialism was for all, while the capitalism was for few. That's very different, very not difficult. The socialism were for all, the capitalism were for few. So the socialism with Chinese characteristic is committed to the common development of 1.4 billion population, and of course win the popular support of its people. China's major anti-epidemic action and the inspiring result so far speak volume about the strength and political guarantee of the CPC and the socialism with Chinese characteristics. What I want to say is that the world is colorful and diverse, and the United States is free to follow the American path. But it has no successful story outside America up to now. Tell me, especially in Africa and other developing countries. I challenge them. Tell me which country follow the American development path, the social system, and succeed, have the common prosperity. Tell me. I would also like to emphasize that times has changed. The world has changed. China has changed. My humble suggestion to the people like Mr. Pompeo is that look at yourself in the mirror before you open up your mouth, so as not to embarrassing yourself. So everybody, I never lied to anyone else. I always keep telling the truth. Let's tell the true story. So before you open your mouth, look at the mirror. In order not to embarrassing yourself. I think that is very important as a public figure, international public figure. Before you open up, please look at the mirror. I thank you.
Thank you. Second, Said.
My name is Said. I'm from Phoenix TV. Recently, the Finance Times carried a report saying that the Chinese leadership early response to the NCP were somewhat bungled. Although the Chinese leadership steps up efforts to combat the epidemic, the virus is still spreading rapidly both in and outside China. With the number of both the confirmed cases and death on the rise, some people even publicly criticize China for violating human rights by imposing quarantine measures. What is your comment?
Unfortunately to see, the relevant report of the Financial Times, of course, not very positive. They not always give us the positive news. It's the relevant report of the Financial News, as you mentioned, is groundless and also inconsistent with the fact. So you see, every day I keep my eyes open. Every day I follow the epidemic there, what is going on there. And not only in China, but the whole world. So the report ignores the positive outcome China has achieved in fighting the epidemics, the unremitting effort made by the Chinese government and people to defeat the disease, and the great sacrifice and contribution China has made in preventing the epidemic from spreading in and out of China to the rest of the world. This is the pride and prejudice in the real life nowadays, unfortunately to say. They did not like me. I have the figure here. Every day I follow it one by one. The world, the China, Wuhan, and other provinces, I follow, you see the eyes, where is it going? How about the outcome of the epidemic in China? We keep our eyes open every day to follow all the figures down or rise. I'd like to share with you that as just now as I mentioned that since the outbreak of the the NCP in Wuhan, President Xi Jinping and the Communist Party of China and the Chinese government were putting the safety of the people's life and health first, has made the prevention and control of the novel coronavirus as the top priority and primary task of the CPC and the Chinese government. So under guidance and employment of the President Xi Jinping, a national joint prevention and control system and program has swiftly put in place and has been working very effectively from beginning up to today. The massive and effective effort at all levels of the Chinese government and society has been made to prevent and control the spread of the epidemic. The national quarantine campaign has been launched. Now you can see some country or some area, some region, they have a lot of panics. But in China, we have whole country to fight in one. Our common enemy at this moment is the epidemic, the coronavirus. So everybody work together. Even we call the people to stay at home to make your own contribution, not get out of the home. So both the military and civilian medical doctor and resources have been mobilized and deployed to Wuhan and Hubei and offered all needed support. We have taken the most comprehensive, rigorous, and thorough measure to fight the virus and try our best and make great sacrifice to defeat the epidemic within China. So after nearly one month of arduous fight, China has achieved positive outcome in combating the epidemic. I'm very happy to share with you. It's an unfortunate incident happened in China, but now we have already have the very positive outcome we have achieved. The situation in the whole China and Hubei province, the epicenter, has shown a positive trend. The number of new confirmed cases and suspected cases, both of them already have been declined continuously for more than 10 days. The death rate remained low. That's about 100, but today I'm very happy it's low. Most of the time it's lower than 100. Nationwide, with 1.4 billion population, the death toll remained low, and the cure rate has been increasing and rising significantly. I have some figures to share with you, very positive. As of February 17, yesterday, by the midnight yesterday, the number of new confirmed cases per day in the whole country dropped from 3,887 cases on February 4th to yesterday, 1,886. 1,886, less than 2,000. And the number of new confirmed cases in the provinces except Hubei, the epidemic, dropped from 890 on February 3rd to 79 cases as of the midnight yesterday, as of February 17. China, except Hubei, the epidemic center, in mainland we have 31 provinces altogether. Except Hubei, we have 30 provinces. Now, the confirmed cases from the top is 890 on the February 3rd. Now dropped to 79, less than 100, I'm proud to say. This is why I would say the epidemic spread in China has been effectively under our control. So the number of new suspected cases in the whole China has been declined for 12 consecutive days from 5,328 cases on February 5th to 1,432 yesterday, to drop less than 1,500 to 1,432 cases yesterday. The number of new suspected cases in Hubei has declined for 15 consecutive days, from 3,260 cases on February the 2nd to 788 cases on February 17th, from 3,000 more to 788 cases. So the number of new suspected cases in provinces except Hubei has been dropping for 11 consecutive days, from 2,211 cases on February 6th to 644 cases on February 17th. That means the whole country except Hubei, from 2,000 more declined to less than 644 cases. So as of February 17, in total, 1,868 people have died of the virus nationwide. 1,868 people died of this epidemic nationwide, with the mortality rate about 2.5%, comparing to 10% of SARS. SARS caused the mortality rate of the SARS is about 10%. So except the Hubei, only 0.6% of the mortality rate in the provinces, in 30 provinces, except Hubei. So I think that is under control. So since the February 12th, more than 1,000 people a day have been cured and discharged from hospitals. From February 12th, every day more than 1,000. I'm happy to see yesterday, 1,701 patients, infected patients, have been cured and discharged from the hospital. And in total, up to yesterday, now, 12,552 patients, infected patients in total, have been discharged from the hospital nationwide. More than 12,500 people have been cured and discharged from nationwide. Now it's more than the death row. There are tens of millions of foreigners in China, millions of foreigners in China at this moment, including half a million of foreign students from the world. We have 50,000 African students in China at this moment. But I'm happy to say, I'm proud to say, up to today, only 27 of foreigners, only 27 of millions of foreigners in China has been infected with NCP in China. Only 2 of them died of the virus. That means the foreign people in China, they are safe. They are well cared about by the Chinese government and people. So this fully demonstrates that the spread of epidemic in China has been effectively brought under control. And the foreigners in China are safe and well cared by the Chinese government and people. So we are proud to say the remarkable achievement has been scored in China's prevention and control effort. Of course, we will bring them to the end as soon as possible. We cannot stop here. Now is not the time to celebrate. The NCP is the corona, the virus is a deadly infectious disease, and the epidemic knows no border. You are free to imagine if China, with over 1.4 billion populations, had not adopted such a most rigorous, decisive, and effective measures. Not only the measure, but a joint nationwide prevention and control mechanism and combating measures and resolutely fought the epidemic within China at all the cost. Would the world be so peaceful today if we do not do so seriously? We have 5 people in the world, one in Chinese. We are not Chinese people. And if they travel free, together with the virus, now the world in chaos. So just look at, in 2009, the H1N1 virus, which originated from the United States, was spread to 214 countries and regions around the world, affecting as many as 61 million people and killing about 300,000 people in 2009. H1N1. You can imagine. Thanks to the stringent prevention and control measure taken by China this time, the novel coronavirus has been infected. Now some people say 25, or some people say 28. But according to the WHO now, we got the figure is 25 countries. So most of the confirmed cases outside China caused by the evacuation and the crucial ship. Unfortunately, the evacuations such as now the United States, the Singapore, France, Germany, Canada, Australia, and South Korea as well. They evacuate. I challenge them. While evacuating the people, you transmit the virus. Now the crucial ship. How many? 454 confirmed cases on the ship. Tell me, what the measure you take? How to prevent and control? That is out of China, unfortunately to say. So if we detecting 454 confirmed cases on the Diamond Princess crucial ship, there were only about 300 more confirmed cases in the world in 25 or 28 countries at this moment. If deducting the number 454 from the crucial ship, only a little more than 300 confirmed cases in the world. Why they waste the international planet? If the people keep them in China, we have only 27 foreigners got infected. So China has paid huge price and made a great contribution. Unfortunately, the people did not appreciate. Instead of that, they attack us. That is the violation of the national-wide quarantine against the epidemic, violate the human rights. I don't know what's the meaning of human rights in the West. So many people die. 300,000 people die of the H1N1. And now they're talking about human rights. So unfortunately, China has paid a huge price and great country sacrifice and has taken unprecedented significant prevention and control measures to fight against the epidemic. China's efforts have not only safeguarded the life and health of the Chinese people and the people around the world, but has made new contribution to the global public health and human rights cause and set up a new standard for the global response to the epidemic. I challenge them, come to humble to learn from China. China's efforts are highly recognized and appreciated by the WHO, the United Nations, and all countries without political prejudice around the world. His Excellency, the Honorable Director General De Ross of the WTO, said that the extraordinary measure and transparent and effective way China has taken are commendable. The speed with China, which China defeated the outbreak, separated the virus, sequenced the genome, and shared it with the WHO and the world is very impressive and beyond words. Dr. Tedros also said that he will continue to praise any country that fight the epidemic at its source to protect its own people and the people around the world at huge cost. He will never stop to praise, to encourage more people and government to fight against the epidemic like that. I thank you.
Good day, Ambassador. Johnny Sai here for African News Agency in Pretoria. Ambassador, just wanted to ask, if we bring to South Africa, the health system in the country has got its own problems here. And there is movement, also quite movement from China to South Africa, people move from between the countries who used to move easily before the pandemic. If it so happens that the epidemic comes to South Africa, do you think there is enough preparedness from what you observe? And do you think the health system in the country can deal with the pandemic at the moment? Thank you so much.
Thank you. As you know, that's I say, first of all, we'll try our best to contain and defeat the virus and epidemic within our territory. We don't like to see that kind of virus get into this continent, including South Africa. But also you understand, while the people traveling, perhaps some of it, this is a very serious infectious disease. But the serious problem is they perhaps it already have somebody's body, but the people did not feel very different or abnormal. That's dangerous. If you get infected and immediately respond, you get higher fever or get cold, immediately people keep distance from there. Now there's one unfortunate case in China is there's one people, he is already get infected, but he feel everything is natural and go back to have the family gathering, but some days later, the family get infected, 10 days later. So that is very strange. But that's not, as I say, the practice in China, this epidemic, this coronavirus could be prevented and cured. So no problem. In China now, we already find a program to deal with them. Now, every day, more than 1,700 people got cured and discharged from the hospital. There's one young man, this morning I got a message from the phone. There's one young man, he almost died. He get ready to die because he felt very sick. But after 10 days, medical treatment in China. Now yesterday he got cured and discharged completely. Now he go back home, free to go back home. Of course, you have to stay at home for 2 weeks. So China has taken most comprehensive and rigorous measures to prevent and control the epidemic so as to resolutely to contain the spread of the disease and defeat the virus within our territory. So we already take, this is the responsibility and morality we have taken to stop the spread from coming to this continent or out of the country. The Chinese government has requested all the travel agencies to suspend all domestic and international tour group tours. The Chinese citizens travel abroad must feel whoever want to travel abroad at this moment or in the months since the outbreak of the epidemic, they are requested to fill in the form to tell us the authority in the past way where you are come, how about your record of traveling. So they must fill in the form to ensure you are safe. And we also carry out the temperature screen at all departure airport and seaport and railway station to make sure the people traveling abroad will not transmit the virus to other countries. Meanwhile, we also advise the people, both Chinese and foreigners, at this moment, you travel out of China, be quarantined at home for 1 to 2 weeks to make sure not to bring the virus into South Africa and Africa and also to the world. Or, of course, whoever you stay at home, and then if you feel something unusual, I think we can immediately to identify and isolate. So the outcome of China epidemic prevention and control effort fully demonstrate that this novel coronavirus can be controlled, can be prevented and cured, and treated and cured. So it's no problem. The key is that we should follow the principle of early detection. Early detection, if some people feel not comfortable, early detection, early isolation, when we identify somebody feel more comfortable, immediately, including the family, must separate immediately and ask them to go to the hospital to test. And early treatment. That is 3 early. 3 identification, 3 detection, and early identification, early detection, early isolation, and early treatment. I think it's not a problem. At present, there are 50,000 African students studying in China today. There have been no confirmed cases in South Africa and Africa. And there's only 1 confirmed cases in Africa at this moment. So the Chinese embassy in South Africa would like to stay in close contact with DECO and the Department of Health through the mechanism we have. So we have confidence in South Africa's medical facility, rapid response mechanism, professionalism, and scientific response. I'm very confident because your government is ready to, if in case something happens in a country, the national response system is working very well. You can follow them. Even if there are few or individual cases found in the country, I say it's very relaxed. We are ready to deal with them. We are ready to. South Africa is well prepared and is fully capable to deal with them. There's no need to panic. No need to be panicked because we are ready. If individual to come, your government will equip. We will continue to strengthen our joint prevention and control cooperation with China through the African CDC and bilateral channels so as to prevent and control the spread of the virus to Africa and South Africa. So even now, all the Chinese, whoever come back from China, come to South Africa, including my staff, because some of the embassy staff, they go back home for Lunar New Year holiday. Now they're about to come back. Whoever want to come back have to get my permission. Those people who paid their visit to Wuhan or Hubei, they are not allowed to come back at this moment. Before the end of the epidemic in Hubei, those people will remain there. We'll not allow them to come. Although they are quite well healthy at home, but they are requested to stay at home as it is. And those people out of Hubei come to this country. All my staff have to get my permission. I have to sign. And whoever come to the airport, go straight to the home. We keep them at home at least 1 week and more. And make sure every day have to tell me their body temperature. Whoever the temperature is high, they are not allowed to get out of the home. But up to now, the embassy, the country, the Chinese community, up to today, I can seriously to say we have no confirmed cases at this moment. But we pray for that. We must stop them from coming to this country and this continent. Thank you.
Just on a different subject. Recently, at the 56th Munich Security Conference, the U.S. Secretary of State and the Secretary of Defense on China again, calling it China's Trojan horse regarding the Huawei company. and they basically are warning the European countries and the West to say, you know, the technology is endangered at the Western countries, the internal systems. At present, South Africa and other countries are pursuing the fourth industrial revolution, and 5G technology is very critical. What is your comment on the US remark?
It's so unfortunate to say, you see, while we are fighting the epidemic in China, we also have to fighting against those ever attempt to contain the high technology development in the world. And I'm proud to say our state councilor and foreign minister, Mr. Wang Yi, respond to them immediately. And also there's the former deputy minister of foreign affairs also respond to the madam speakers of the House and representative once they have their meeting in Geneva and in Germany. And such a U.S. senior officials unanimously high up the security threat posed by Huawei, a private Chinese company. Once again exposed to us that the U.S. lack of the confidence. They are the only superpower in the world at this moment. They care about one private company. And also exposed to us that the fragile of the national security system of the United States. How is it possible? Do you think it's possible? The American national state security system is so fragile. There has one Chinese company will pose the threat to the national system. The answer, of course, is not. The United States always use the excuse of the national security to interfere in and obstruct the mutually beneficial cooperation and trade cooperation with other countries. This is not the first time. They not only use the national security against China, but also their allies, I'm sure. So this is the typical essence of the U.S. hegemonism. It's not the news for us because we are here so many years. So it is well known, to us all that most of the world computer and application system have long been manufactured and made by the American, and the computer used in Chinese government, military enterprises, and all other sectors are also manufactured by the IBM and other U.S. companies. We use the U.S. main computer to work for years. And many Chinese people are very happy to use the iPhone, including my son. Now he has the iPhone. The apps in our computer and phones use the American system like Windows and Android. Yes, we use it up to today, every day. The phone and computer we use. The apps in our computer and phone are such American systems like Windows and Android. We believe that the American government will not and does not dare to use the so-called backdoor to steal our information and privacy or undermine our national security. Americans, they have the right, they have the capacity to do so, but I challenge they dare not. If the Americans dare to do so, it will lose their national credibility and the global market. No one will use it. They are free to use the backdoor, but they will lose their national dignity and the global market. So I challenge them. Huawei is a leading company in 5G technology, of course, and the largest supplier of internet equipment in the world. It is a network infrastructure builder rather than operator. Unfortunately to say, up to today, Huawei still an infrastructure builder instead of operator. For any country who want to embrace the fourth industrial revolution for the innovative development, you have no choice but to cooperate with Huawei. You truly need Huawei. As a matter of fact, 80% of the backbone network infrastructure in Africa, 80% more of the backbone network infrastructure in Africa has been built by Huawei and other Chinese companies. China has become the major contributor to the infrastructure development of the African's information and telecommunication ICT industry. It is the local people and European and American companies in Africa that benefit from the network infrastructure finalized and built by China. It's not the Chinese, because we have the operator from American European company. We build the infrastructure and they are the operator benefit from there. So Huawei is a private enterprise who has developed through its own effort and wisdom amid the market competition. I'm proud to say Huawei is a very innovative and promising company in China. They have a lot of the youth generation who the average the age of their company is just less than 30 years old. They are very young. However, the U.S. used the so-called national security as an excuse and mobilized the national strength to ban Huawei and even force European countries, Japan, Australia, and other allies to stop their cooperation with Huawei. And also American pressured some African countries to follow suit. And this is the bullying act by the U.S., which indeed harm others without benefiting themselves. It severely damaged the U.S. economy itself, but also disrupt the global change of production, supply, and values, and undermine the rule-based free trade order and system, and seriously impede the process of the fourth industrial revolutions, and harm the common interests of the people around the world. The American government forced European countries, Japan, Australia, and other allies to stop their cooperation with Huawei, as we know. It's an opening story, but cannot provide any alternative facilities. American do so. That does not mean American already have the alternative. In 3G, we left behind. In 5G, we fight together with American. But in 4G, we go ahead. So American no alternative. They hold us not to move. So American ask those countries not to cooperate with China does not mean they have the alternative. So we need to have the level and fear for people to compete. And that is the free trade system and policy American taught us or teach us. But unfortunately now, just one company go ahead. American, a lot of company. American, of course, that country is quite advanced. We understand. They have a lot of the high technology, top level in the world. We have only one high technology, just a little go ahead. The American, they're scared. And to ban and stop them using the national strength. Oh my God, it's not fair. You are the global superpower. Don't scare about a small company like Huawei. Why they do it like this? So if they ask the developed country and their ally to stop cooperation with Huawei, it is actually deprive its ally of the development right to embrace and benefit from the fourth industrial revolution. They do not have the alternative. But they like to stop them from there. That means they deprive the ally of the development right to embrace and benefit from the fourth industrial revolution. This is why many European countries cannot agree with the United States and adopted a calm, observant, and scientific approach. We believe that the government of countries in Europe and Africa have the wisdom to see through the plot of the American and make their right choice. I thank you.
People stay. Peter, people stay.
I thought I would stay here. Yeah. Okay.
Me?
Okay. No, the people there. Okay.
As you mentioned, and indeed, U.S. Secretary of State Pompeo is currently visiting Ethiopia. The last leg of his first visit to Africa after Senegal and Angola. The United States has stated that its new Africa strategy is to contain the rising influence of China and Russia in Africa. Pompeo is criticized China's policy to Africa on several occasions. So, what's your comment on his visit? Thank you.
As I'm very African, and also I visited 38 countries in the continent. I'm very African in the continent. I served this continent for long. So as I mentioned that, American senior official by such as Secretary of State are mostly welcome to come to the continent, pay more attention to the continent. But of course, they cannot come here by the old lecture to the African continent because they give us lecture for years. So I hope they also give us the so-called new strategy to African strategy, American new strategy. But the main purpose and objective of that so-called new strategy of American to Africa is to contain the growing influence of China and Russia. That does not come here to do more in infrastructure development or human resources development. But I hope, just now as I mentioned, this is the first trip of Mr. Pompeo as a Secretary of State to Africa since he took office in almost 22 months. So it is also the highest level officials of Trump's administration to visit Africa so far. We welcome the United States and other developed countries to take practical measures to repay their historical debts owed to the continent and fulfill their due international obligation. But unfortunately, yesterday I got the news. Americans reduced their contribution, their financial support to the WHO dramatically. It's not good. The whole world fighting against the virus in the world. Not only the coronavirus in China, but also H1N1, Ebola virus, so many viruses. That is the come here. I hope Mr. Pompeo's visit will inject the positive strength into African peace development and invest real money to support the African industrialization and modernization instead of lecturing African leaders with the old textbook, which has been used for many years and has been already proven outdated and invalid. To the American, they give us so many years lecture. I challenge American. Did they have the good example in the continent for sustainable peace and sustainable development? Tell me one story, one country. I can proudly, loudly to say, I just came back from Addis. I'm proud to say, Addis is growing. If you look out through the window, you can see at least 5 the new building under construction. I spent 1 more hour to go around the city. The city is growing. And in that country, no American infrastructure development, but of course, the benefit, some American company benefit from our cooperation because we build the railway, build the port, and build the electricity, build the economic corridor in industry park. We welcome American manufacturer to have the production there. So I think that is a good example there. We can count So many countries in the continent. Go to Kenya, go to Rwanda, Uganda, go to Zambia, go to Malawi. You can see the continent, wherever you go, you see a lot of major infrastructure projects and building built by China. And I'm proud to say last year, 20 countries in the continent had their GDP more than 5%. Where's the American? So at present, there's some African countries are committed to realizing industrialization and modernization. They need a large amount of investment and financial support from international community in order to break through the three bottlenecks for any country of their development, namely the inadequate infrastructure, lack of skill, personnel, and sort of funding. Whoever in the continent, from the world like to help the continent, the people in the continent to get sustained economy, three are the must. Human resource development, infrastructure development, and financial support. So according to the statistics, 1/5 of the African infrastructure project up to now are finalized by China. And 1/3 of them are contracted by China. The U.S. only contributed 1.7% of funding of the African infrastructure. So as the only superpower in the world, except for making some empty promises to African countries from time to time, it is our sincere hope they need to increase their investment and truly give us more fund support. But unfortunately to say, since 2004, the investment, trade, and grant addition from American to the continent dramatically decreased up to date. So I hope Mr. Pompeo come here will increase that investment, trade, and financial support to the continent. So we welcome him to come. But unfortunately, while reluctant to help Africa, the U.S. is only concerned about the growing influence of China and Russia, and only concerned about the China support to Africa will help it to realize economic independence and then political independence. This is why the U.S. have been fabricating such a fallacies of China creating debt crisis, debt traps, new colonialism, and taking over strategic assets. They will create more, give us more fabrication, don't worry. So as to smell China and scare Africa and sabotage China-African cooperation. So Africa, in our view, should be a stage for international win-win cooperation for common development, rather than an arena of bigger power, competition, or rivalry. We sincerely hope our American friend could truly provide financial support and take concrete actions, as China does, to support Africa build infrastructure and open up their market to Africa, instead of making empty promises to Africa and lecturing African government and peoples, or making fake news to undermine China-African cooperation and Africans' development. I thank you.
Thank you. First, you said you've been at Addis. I want to ask you a couple of questions about that. But one is that MultiChoice, South African company, signed a contract with the African Union to build and develop their studios in the African Union. And having signed it and invested quite a lot of money, Chinese company has grabbed the contract. And I wonder if this is something you might want to intervene in. The other thing is that another issue with the U.S. in the Africa CDC, which you mentioned, is intended to be based in Addis. But there's a feeling Americans are expressing a view that it should go to Morocco because they don't believe that Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, has the technical and medical capacity to run such an important medical facility. I wondered if you could comment on that. Thank you.
Two questions. I think I know that stadium at the request of the AU 2016 for the building of the stadium for AU headquarters, the Chinese government spent how many years? 3 years more to have the feasibility study, to have the project and find the contractor for the building. So we now is come to the period to implement. And I just came back from Addis. I went there to see what happened there. The AU headquarters, the building, have 5 stadiums. They have 5 stadiums, don't worry. And this time, China, because of the budget, we only equipped 2 of them at the request of the AU 3 more years ago at the request of EU. Now is at the time we are, of course, in China, we are ready to work with them. But we are also very happy to hear that South African government decided to build also the stadium to help the AU to broadcasting the news story to the whole continent. And I go there to see the feasibility study, to work together. And I'm proud to let you know the potential is there for the cooperation between China. China, of course, we already signed the agreement and contract with the AU Commission in the Addis. But if the AU agree to have more stadium room, we are ready. And I'm proud to tell you that the Chinese equipment, we have the system, not only broadcasting in Addis. That system can cover the whole continent. When the AU summit held, a conference held in Addis, in the headquarters, the 2 stadiums, they already have the system to broadcasting and TV to the whole continental member state. And of course, this is, we just give you the equipment and the system built. But in the future, they still need to upgrade and also have the live program. We just build not only build the system for the summit. Summit just 1 year, 1 time or 2 times. But that one, how to make good use of that system, stadium system. I think the potential are huge for South Africa, AU, and China to work together. We are ready to work together with AU Commission and South Africa for more communication and TV stadium system. But as you know, that is the building belong to the AU. Now China built and already donated and hand over to AU completely. So that is we are, for us, is open to work together with South Africa and AU together to do something to benefit the member state. The second question is the African CDC built in Addis. That decision I'm proud to see. When I was at DZ in the 2014, you remember we fought very hard against the Ebola in Liberia, Sierra Leone, the Western country, and Guinea. We fought very hard. And after we bring that Ebola virus under control, come to the end, we share the idea. China, we had the initiative and share the idea with the AU Commission and the African member state. We need to build a system to prevent and control the virus such as Ebola or something else. And I'm proud to say that decision has made and the agreement has been signed by all the stakeholders, including China and African Commission. And also I'm very happy that is we have the first one cooperation between China and American in the continent. When we build that system, American, they say they like to get involved. They say, for us, it's not, we are opening. We open for all the developed countries to contribute to the continent. So it seems to me, at that time, the agreement, if I'm not wrong, the headquarters decided to build in Addis. That is the decision of the AU Commission, And we agreed to build that system already. And we also help African country, AU, to build 5 regional sub-center. Something that the different region, 5 regional center, we built 5 CDC as a sub-region center. We already built. And I hope this system is working. up to now, I did not follow it because I did my post for years. So, but the system is already built, and I'm happy American experts also work together with Chinese and African experts in Addis or in the continent in that area. So I hope that system will be helpful and for this continent to prevent any virus and epidemic come to this continent. Thank you.
Okay, yes, yes.
Hi, good day, Ambassador.
Sorry. Yeah.
Kindly to hear from UNCA. Ambassador, you're saying you have about 50,000 students from the continent. In terms of South African students, have you been able to get any word their well-being, whether they're getting any particular assistance? But also maybe just another question from the Chinese community in South Africa. So there are reports that some, they feel that they are being discriminated. So have they been able to approach your embassy, just to try and counter any xenophobic elements?
Thank you. I think, as I mentioned, that now we have 500,000 foreign students in China. 50,000 African students in China. And we have 3,000 of them are South African. And 165 or 64, my account is 165 South African students now stay in Wuhan and Hubei province. And I'm proud to let you know up to today, no confirmed cases reported to us. And my in my up to today, no confirmed cases. They still, of course, they in China well protected. You can we have millions of foreigners at this moment in China, but only 27 of them got infected, and also 2 of them died up to now. So if so many students there, we look after them very well in 2 ways. One, to make sure they must stay in the campus, in the community, and at home or in the territory. They are not allowed to move as usual, as they like to move, because we are at the wartime to fight against the epidemics. We have the good intention to protect each and every foreigners, especially the students, international students in China, to protect them from getting the virus. So that is serious. They have to follow the instrument in China. And also sometimes they are afraid to stay at home, but who will give them food and medical treatment is a very big challenge to us, my dear friend. Because in Wuhan and Hubei provinces, all the public transportation was suspended, including the private car. You're not free to move. Sometimes the people feel not comfortable. They said China is not free, no freedom. I challenge you. So when the people are talking about they are uncomfortable, they have to think. What is easy to think? We are at the wartime against the epidemic nationwide. We stop all the people, not you, including our children, including the women. All of us must be isolated yourself, quarantine yourself, stay well at home. That is it. The second, when the people are just a complain, the Chinese government and authority did not look after them to meet the demand. We have to see the mutual understanding. At this moment, thousands of medical doctors and work nurses are fighting from the nationwide to rush to Wuhan and Hubei. They are fighting. When we are scared and worried about the epidemic in China. We have a lot of nurses, both civilian and military doctors and workers, rush to Hubei to protect us, to protect not only the Chinese people, not only the students from China, but also the students and people from the world. So we need the mutual understanding. So I think when the family far away are worried about, concerned about their children in China, their family, their relative in China, is quite understandable. Because I also, when my son studied in America, I asked him to call me every week. My worry about the campus kidding. So I have to call me. So the same story. So it's quite understandable for the parent, relative, friend here to worry, concerned about that. But I have to let you know, they are safe in China. At least they are safe because some people are dying. And the virus is now in the country. So at this moment, it's better for them to stay well, to follow us, stay together with us. I'm proud to say, some South African student, he called me Mr. Brett. He's a young man who studied in China 9 years. Now he's fighting in the front together with us. They're fighting together with us against the virus, Mr. Brett. So I'm very proud of him. And also we appreciate the people are very happy to work together. I just like to advise. I strongly advise that it is it is safe, it is cheap, it is wise, and it is right at this moment to stay in China until we bring the epidemic under our control completely. Because stay there is safe. Whoever traveling out of China at this moment, my worry about is the transportation, public transportation and international flight. If one people on board got the problem, got the virus, all the board have the problem. The crucial ship, that's one people, other people got the virus. Now, 454 people confirmed and got infected of the virus already, and the number still increase. And now the American and some country, Canada people like to have the helicopter to fly the people out of the ship. I hope they can handle well and make sure they have to protect. This has to protect 3,700 people, passengers in the ship. We look after over 1.4 billion population plus millions of foreigners in China. So we need to fight together against the epidemic. So this is, I said, this is the global battle against the virus, and this is the global battle against the virus. So we need to fight together. The Chinese community here, we also got to know at this moment the people scared about the Chinese because this virus is originally come from Wuhan and China. And most of them is whoever have the record to travel to China. So it's quite natural. But it's quite natural the people, so I keep this in and give you the straight eyes. But I like to show you to our friend here. I can assure you. You see, today we are together. Why we are sure? We are confident together. Because I made sure all the people to get into my embassy must be sure they are safe. They do not have the record travel just back from China. Whoever, some of my staff, travel out of the country, they must go back home to stay there at home for 1 week more and get my permission to get out. So whoever in the embassy, they are safe. The Chinese community, they have a lot of people go back home for holiday. And now they are requested to stay at home. My wife is the consul general in the embassy. He keep that kind of aware notice all the days. Those people stay at home, you guys stay at home. Whoever come here, we have some people get their permission and come here, go back home from the airport and stay at home at least 2 weeks. And we every day open for the Chinese community to report to us. Our eye is open. We never close our eye, 24 hours, and they have to give us the response. Whoever feel uncomfortable, they have to report to the embassy. So at this moment, we can assure you, all the Chinese people in the country are safe. We are not allow them to transmit the virus. So like this, the Chinese people is safe, why give us the straight eyes? We are human beings. We not only protect you, we also protect ourselves. We not only protect ourselves, we also have to protect the environment. If South Africa, in case have something happen, everybody will suffer from. But here, just now, as I say, this virus could be controlled. If we identify, for example, when people come out, if we can recognize who he is, and then who have the close contact with him or her, immediately isolate the limited people. So it's safe for the country. That does not mean if one cases come to South Africa, the country has a big problem. For what? I think nowadays is no problem. We already almost understand the virus, so we know how to deal with them. So I think it's no need to have such a panic in our society. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ambassador, the news today in Europe is not Mike Pompeo, and it's certainly not the coronavirus. It's about the Uyghur situation. There's apparently a leaked document showing a policy on Uyghur that about interning people for wearing beards, for wearing veils. In other words, the oppression of the Uyghur people. Are you aware of any document that has come out of late? And what is your response to these allegations that the repression and oppression of the Uyghur people is increasing?
Okay, that is, I think, is the old story. And American will keep telling the story. I keep telling the people, seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. 3 years before, the Xinjiang, the Uyghur, right? Uyghur people, the Muslim people that live in that region called Xinjiang religion, autonomous religion in Xinjiang. I have been there so many times. But unfortunately, because the extremist and also the terrorist attack happened there so many years, more than 10 years, lasting more than 10 years. Every year, we have a lot of people die of that terrorist attack. The people, last time we have the video to show our friend what happened there. They killed the people every day. So hundreds of people were killed in the past 10 years. And all the people cannot live. When you go to that area, you were scared. But I'm very proud to tell you now, in the past 3 years, the situation is under our control and managed. Now, no more terrorist attack or accident happened in the Xinjiang region for more than 3 already. Because now the region is safe and secure, no more terrorist attack. So the people, both from China or the international tourists, rush to Xinjiang. In the past 2 years, every year they have more than 150 million visitors as a tourist to Xinjiang. So because production come to normal, society come to normal, and the tourist is growing, so the economic growth in Xinjiang. Now the growth rate in Xinjiang 3 years higher than the national average growth rate, more than 6 or 7%. In the past year, that means terrorist is our common enemy at nowadays in the world. Wherever even the terrorist attack in America, of course we condemn the terrorist attack. But we cannot say the terrorist attack in China to kill the people is commendable, is allowable. And that is unfortunately American. I challenge them, what's the meaning of human rights? The human rights is not only the people in America have the human rights. The Chinese people, we are the most important people, part of the world. Of course, part of the human being, humankind. So whoever in China, in South Africa, or in the world, are attacked and sacrificed by that kind of terrorist attack, we need to give them sympathy and we need to protect them from the terrorist attack. So unfortunately, that is the double standard. When the terrorist attack in America, they launch the global the fight against the terrorism. But now when they happen in China, they give them support. So they will pay the price if they protect, if they keep stand side by side with those terrorist attacks. Believe us, because that is our common enemy there. So now I'm very happy. China, we find a new way to deal with the terrorist attack. Why so many people they follow those extremists? The people have the extremist idea to go to the street because they have no job at that time, and they don't know how to do business. Even they don't know the Chinese language, the official communication language. They have the local dialect. In China, we have thousands of dialects. So they have the dialect, they cannot do the business nationwide. So now with China, we have the vocational technical school. Vocational technical school. For those people who have follow some people to do something wrong, but it's not his own devil intention. So we give them the opportunity to choose to stay in the jail. Of course, you do against the people, you kill the people, you damage the people, you must go to the jail. But now, we open the school called the Vocational Technical School for them to learn the Chinese language, the official language, to learn the law, to equip them with the skill to do business like cooking, a sewing machine, something that they also will give them a lot of skill training so that they can do business and survive themselves. And that is the innovation or innovative measure and approach we have adopted to fight against, to deal with the terrorist attack. The religious extremists, the action there. So I think this is the way in China. We do the way in different with the Western way. The Western people, you see that Saddam Hussein, they have the terrorists in Iraq and they destroy them all by arm. But we do the different way. They have some people do not understand what happened there, so they follow them to go to do something good against the common interest of the people. So now we give them opportunity to go back to school. Of course, they are free to go or not to go. And I think most importantly, we already open for the media and friends from the whole world to go to Xinjiang, what happened there. And also, I hope this year, when the epidemic in China come to the end, I'd like to invite the media from South Africa to go together to see what happened there. Because seeing is believing. If the people are live in harmony, live in a happier life, and enjoying the harmony and safety, what's not there? So I think what's the human rights in China? The human rights in China are very simple. The right to work, the right to live, the right to eat, the right to school, and the right to hospital. That is the basic 5 basic human rights in China. When one family have one right to work, they can survive the family. They have the regular income. And that is the number 1 basic human rights. The right to live now in China is not easy. 5 people in the world, 1 in China. To make sure everybody have that, not only to live, the house, the shelter, but a dignity house. Now in Beijing, do you know how cost it is? China in Beijing, a major city in China now, 1 square meter of house, it will cost us more than 100,000 Chinese yuan, 200,000 of rand in major city in China. To make sure everybody have the right to live is not easy. Make sure that everybody have the right to eat. To eat. 1.4 billion population. You can imagine. The right to eat is not easy. But we can assure you, by the end of this year, over 1.4 billion population, 1/5 of the world population will live out of poverty, all of us will out of poverty for the common prosperity. So that is the great contribution China has made and will continue to make to the world human rights. So I think just let us come to us. You go back to American, how many people live in the homeless? How many people struggle for their survival? I challenge them. Come to us to see. We like to work together to share ideas. But the American story, leftists, they say the people they did not. Human rights is the right to work, right to live, right to eat, right to school, right to hospital, not the right to talk. Not only the right to talk, we need to have the right to work. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, the last one.
Yeah. Okay.
We have more opportunities.
We have 2 more.
Just a quick one.
Okay, lady first.
Just a quick one. Ambassador, you did mention the students, the South African students in China, but can you give us an overview of how many South Africans in general are there and what the races are like, if there are any?
At this moment, that you give me the challenge. At this moment, how many journalists in China?
No, how many South Africans?
Yeah, South African journalists in.
No, just South Africans in general.
Oh, in general. Oh, in general. Okay. Sorry. Thank you. Even your embassy will not know the exact number. If you ask me how many Chinese here, no one knows. Because why? We are the same. When they have no problem, they keep this from the authority. If they have a problem, they will knock your door. Only in case they need something, they need your help, they will knock your door. Because we do not have that, they have to come here to register. So we have no figure exactly because this is the freedom of the people. So even in South Africa, we do not. But the student, we have to know. Because the student, we register. So we, when the outbreak of the epidemic, we already called the Chinese authority to tell us how many South African students at the request of your government. And hopefully we also share the information with your government, the DECO and the department all day round. If we have the new information, we share with them immediately. So up to now, I did not have general.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
And then, no,
That's fine.
oh, it's okay.
Privately.
So
Okay,
thank you so much. Thank you all for your comment and patience. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Peter.
Sorry, just to clarify, so how you to clarify something. Are all
I had a very, very large and just gave up.